Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Breeze Comics here, and today I wanted to review and talk about Spider-Man Life Story. This is issues 4 and 5, but I really just want to talk about the series as a whole. I believe it only has one issue left. Life Story is, to me, you could probably think I'm crazy when I say this, but it could be right up there with Alex Ross's Marvels, or maybe even Planet X. If you guys ever read that storyline, this is complete brilliance on Chip Zdarsky's behalf. I want to give credit to him for the whole entire series, but he might have only written these last two. But I'm going to give credit to him because this is complete brilliance. I have thoroughly enjoyed this series as a whole. It has gotten me. I was hooked from the very beginning. It's the concept of each issue would cover a decade of if Spider-Man was alive from the 60s to, essentially when he was created to present day. So we have the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. This issue's the 2000s, and I believe the final is 2010s. I wonder what maybe they put the 10s. Maybe they put it down. I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. Maybe 2010s. I probably prefer that, honestly. But this is really, really fun. Because it takes many things into account. It takes world events. What if the Marvel Universe went through those same exact events in current time? So in 60s, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. Then 70s, you said Watergate. 80s, but obviously they take current events, or world events, and mix it in with key moments of Spider-Man's history. So issue number 3 left us with issue number 2 was Vietnam, and that left us with Cap defending the Vietnamese people, and Iron Man was there fighting against that. And then issue 3, which was the 80s, was Secret Wars. That was cool. So Peter gets the black suit, and this really does encapsulate all the mythos of the Marvel Universe, but also Spidey, because you see the relationship between him and Mary Jane of really being Spider-Man cost him. With great power comes great responsibility, but also with that great responsibility comes great sacrifice. And he had twins, Claire and Benjamin. We get interested in them in issue 3, I believe, as newborns. Now they're like 10. Now they're in their late teens, early 20s in 2000. And issue number 4, I'm going to set this one aside for a little bit so we look at this one. Issue number 4 picks up with 1995. We are in Chicago, and we see a fire, a building on fire, and it turns out to be Ben Reilly. I was like, why are we in Chicago? It's kind of weird, but it ends up being Ben Reilly. So, this issue, since we introduced us to Ben, is going to deal with the Clone Saga. Love it, hate it, despise it. I actually thoroughly enjoy the chaos of the Clone Saga because it gave us Ben and Kang, which two Spider-Man characters which I love so much. Love their individual runs and their last run that was really Ben's run, but it had Kang in it the whole time, which I enjoyed. And Doc Ock captures Ben. Okay, he's like, "Hey, you come with me, or I'm gonna kill this lady. I'm dying, and I'm not messing around anymore. I'm borrowed time, and you're the key." So he takes Ben. Then he comes up with a trap to get Peter. Now, if you're looking at Ben, and he's looking kind of old, So we have to remember this is issue 4 in the 90s. So Peter is in his late 30s, early 40s. He was so we had 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So yeah, maybe early. Let me say late 30s. He's late 30s here. His body is slowing down. You can see the universe has aged. Doc Ock is a old, frail man. He knows look at that face. Look at all the wrinkles. Look at the warts. He's on borrowed time, and he knows it. So, we're gonna fast forward to this part. This is Peter. We're in New York, and he's commenting on his body. And this is a new suit Peter made. You can kind of see like the fabric here. It's to tighten his core. I'm speculating on this, honestly. He doesn't really comment on it. He doesn't, unless this is a famous suit, which I don't think it is. But you can see it's tightening his muscles. It's just giving him that body support that he needs. And Peter at this stage has created Parker Industries. He is a threat to Tony Stark, business-wise, and Tony is trying to force a merger, and Peter is trying to defend Tony from basically having a coup and taking his company. Then Doc Ock comes on the scene, and he's like, Spider-Man, show yourself, but he knows Peter is Spider-Man, and he's not sure how he knows, but pretty much Doc Ock just beats on him. Kid you not, he totally puts the hurt on Peter, and he wakes up in a lab. Okay, so now we're in a lab, and we see Harry, and then we see Otto, and we see Ben. So this is where the clone conspiracy connection happens. I want to zoom this out a little bit if I could. Nope, can't zoom out. All right, let me scoot that away. So yeah, we see the clone connection, and this is where the classic twist happens. Okay, this is where everyone got pissed off that we've been following this Peter Parker for years, and he ends up being the clone compared to Ben Reilly, that he's the real Peter Parker. Okay, so Ben, or Peter, flips out. This one right there, he flips out, and he breaks the lashes, and he blames Doc Ock. He's like, "You've taken everything from me. For years, I've been telling myself these memories that I'm having are not mine. They're Peter's. I'm Ben Reilly. I'm just a copycat." and Doc Ock is placed in a position where he is going to try to kill Ben because he's the original Peter Parker, and he wants to study him to basically clone himself and kind of do a superior Spider-Man thing on himself. Okay, all right. So in the aftermath, Harry dies. Okay, Harry dies. See, look at that. Boom, right in the chest. He did. He did. And Ben flips out. Peter saves him. Okay, so that's basically what happened in the issue. They do switch. Okay, they do switch. Peter gives the role of Spider-Man and Peter Parker to Ben, and he assumes Ben Riley's life, which means Ben is now in control of Parker Industries, and he will run around as Spider-Man for the next decade as Spider-Man / Peter Parker. It has a very heartfelt ending where Peter goes home to Mary Jane. They've had a rocky relationship, and he goes there and ends with him and his family. Before doing that, he goes and he knows he's been tracking Norman Osborn this whole time because he's the only one that knew he was Spider-Man, and that Norman manipulated Harry into telling Doc Ock who Peter actually was. And after Peter revealed that Harry had died, Norman had a heart attack and passed away as well. So I think Green Goblin is no more. Doc Ock is this is the last time we see Doc Ock in this little panel. So he is gone, assuming he has died by issue 5 because his years has passed. So yeah, this is issue number 4. Great story. I just love the detail. I love the awareness of the times and how Chip Zdarsky and the creative team incorporate the Clone Saga, which was the biggest fiasco for Spider-Man in the 90s, hands down. Now we turn to the 2000s and what happened in the 2000s. 9/11, obviously. We had, the Bush administration and the first Obama administration. Then, in the comics universe, we get to deal with, in the grand scope of the Marvel Universe, the Civil War. And that will be a huge focus point on this issue. But we also have the Spider-Man focused line with, I want to say Marlin. The first Spider-Verse, a storyline, with the vampires and whatnot. Okay, that's going to have a huge, huge effect on Peter in this. So now we're in the 2000s, where he is in his late 40s, early 50s. Okay, that's what Peter's age range in this. He is a old man fighting for justice, okay? And we start off in New York, and we pick up with Ben. It's 2006. So 11 years since this issue has happened, and he is getting his butt handed to him. And I want to say Marlin. Oh my goodness. I really blanking on this guy's name. I'm going to call him Marlin. Okay, his new name is Marlon. Rip me a new one in the comments. It's totally fine by me. I probably deserve it. He knows Ben is a copycat. He knows he's not the real Peter Parker. And this is driving Ben insane. He's like, look, he's even wearing a Scarlet Spider. Isn't that beautiful? And he's like, no, I'm Spider-Man. Oh, Vlad. Okay, Vlad. You know, Marlon Vlad. There you go. There's your new name. And he kills Ben. And what's worse than this? This is televised. And Peter's family sees Uncle Ben, rip Uncle Ben again, die on television. And Peter he reveals that some dude told him that he was the spider totem and that this guy would come and try to feed off of him and erase the powers of the spider. Okay? So we're all caught up on that. This is really, it hurt me. I love Ben so much, and just seeing him die, oh man, that was rough. Kinda felt that in the heart. So as I said, this does have a 9/11 check-in on it, influence tie-in. It references 9/11, okay? So this is Claire. This is his daughter. And Peter's like, I have to go. This guy's going to come after you. I have to find him, but I have to stay a step ahead. I can't let him find me. I can't let him find you. And she's like, you went to Jonah's funeral. And she said, and you told Mom that you didn't put on that mask. But how could you not? So in the last issue, Ben gave Peter the Scarlet Spider mask. And this is him lifting up. Beautiful, beautiful art, by the way. And then we have the 9/11 picture with the Twin Towers have fallen. And he's like, she tells Peter, it's you cannot resist helping people. And she's like, there's a reason why you put us in the woods. You can't react if you don't see. And so we're so far away from people being injured that you cannot react. So this issue is really has so much emotion to it because the current state of the country, it's just everyone has so much pain in their heart and hatred for each other that this tragedy brought us to the closest we've been in years. So just seeing that references is kind of brought hope, and on a personal level, that our society can be healed. Then we get catch up with Tony Stark again, and the Superhuman Registration Act. So this is the Civil War. It is popping up, and it has been about 10-11 days. No, it's been 1 week. I'm sorry, 1 week since Spider-Man died on TV. Okay, and Tony says he had so much respect for Peter, as a superhero, as a friend, as a businessman, and he is going to assume control of Parker Industries. So basically, Peter says screw you to Tony Stark, and he brings out the Avengers. So we have She-Hulk, Iron Fist, Black Widow, War Machine, Captain Marvel, and Tony, of course. And as you can see, he has decked them all out with Iron Man versions of their suits, which is, I'm just gonna say, just Black Widow and War Machine look amazing. She-Hulk looks like she's probably the most threatening in my mind. And then Iron Fist kind of looks like a Power Ranger, but it's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. So they start beating up on Peter pretty bad, and that's when he gets saved by Captain America and his Avengers. Hawkeye, who else? Hawkeye, Luke Cage, Cloak, and Dagger. Yep, that's Dagger. Yep. And they had this giant brawl, and meanwhile, Marlin Vlad is hunting down Peter's family, and Peter, he has a trick up his sleeve because he knows these people so well. There's one fatal flaw in Tony's plan, and that is that he doesn't trust anyone. He always has to have control, which leaves, if I can just find the page, this is Spidey's new. I feel this is very Miles Morales inspired, if you don't mind me saying. That's pretty sweet, right? He actually has an EMP, and it shuts down all their suits, and he's like, you have no trust in anyone. You always have to be the one on top of everything. And Tony goes on to say, you and Cap were the best of us, but this Superhuman Registration Act wasn't for the best. It was meant for the people below you two, and referencing them and the other superheroes. So, to wrap up, Claire and Benji end up appears to be killed, but most likely injured Marlin. So I would like to see where 2010 issue picks up for Peter Parker. Maybe he hands the torch to Miles, or maybe they go the MC2 route and hand it to Claire, who's supposed to be like May Parker. I don't know. I'd really like to see how this wraps up. Wonderful series. Again, right up there with Alex Ross's Marvels and Planet X in my book for the importance and the grandeur of what Chip Zdarsky is trying to accomplish here, and he has knocked it out of the park every single issue. Please pick this up. This is something. This is going to be one of these stories that are going to be, one, collectible, but two, one of the heavy hitters in everyone's minds. Like, this is it. This is what comic books are about. How to beautifully immerse a fictional world with non-fictional events and make it, dare I say, inclusive for everyone. No one's left out. It's very simple to read from point A to point Z. You don't have to know all the ins and outs because they manipulate some of the storytelling to their advantage, which is fine, I didn't read all those amazing storylines every issue. I didn't grow up on comics. I was one of those guys. I always loved comic heroes, superheroes. So I was I would always Google and read like the Marvel Wiki. That's how I grew on my knowledge. And when I got my own place, I wanted my comics. That's how I started collecting comics. So this is really a beautiful way for Chip Zdarsky to help include new people catch up on the history of Spider-Man, but in his own way. This video is very long. I'm just gonna wrap this up now. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that notification bar, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great one. Bye bye.